Good morning. So today you're going to be taking a quiz, and your quiz is going to cover two problems: graphing a quadratic in standard form, and then also graphing a quadratic function in vertex form. So I wanted to go over each one again to give you another resource to have when you go to do your quiz. Okay, so the first one is graph the quadratic in standard form. F of x equals negative 3x squared plus 12x minus 8. Again, we know this is standard form because it's ax squared plus bx plus c equals y. In this case, it's function form, f of x. So the first thing we want to do is identify our a, b, and c. So if I look at this, a is always what's in front of the quadratic term, b is in front of the linear term, and c is the constant term. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can decide what we already know. A equals negative 3. So that's going to tell us that this parabola is going to open down, because if it's at negative, it opens down. The next thing it wants us to do is the axis of symmetry. I'm abbreviating it, A of S. That's always negative b over 2a. Where do I get these values? From what I identified. So I'm just plugging it in. So if b is 12, the negative of 12 is negative 12 times 2. Divided by 2 times a, which is negative 3. So this becomes negative 12 over negative 6, which is positive 2. That's our axis of symmetry. Remember, that's an equation, x equals 2. We use that axis of symmetry to get our vertex, because the axis of symmetry is our x coordinate in it. So to get the vertex, we are plugging that in for x. So this becomes negative 3 times 2 squared plus 12 times 2 minus 8. In order of operations, tells us we square the 2 first. We don't do negative 3 times 2 and square it. We square the 2 first. When we square the 2, we get 4. And then we're going to multiply it in the next step times negative 3. 2 times 12 is 24 minus 8. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 plus 24 minus 8. I'm just going to rewrite this so the negatives are together, because I can add those together. That's negative 20 plus 24, which is 4. And remember, please use your graphing calculators or any type of calculator so you're calculating this correctly, because if you get this incorrect, the whole graph is going to be incorrect. Now we have our vertex. Our vertex is our axis of symmetry as our x coordinate, which was 2, and the point we just found, or the y coordinate, which is 4. Okay? The y-intercept, how do we do the y-intercept? The y-intercept is always 0, c. Well, we've already identified c. It's negative 8. So 0, negative 8. We're going to do our last point once we put this onto our coordinate plane. So we're going to start with our axis of symmetry. And we said our axis of symmetry is 2. Remember, it's a dotted line through 2. X equals 2. Our vertex is 2, 4. It should be on that axis of symmetry, and we know this is opening down, so my other points should be below that vertex. My y-intercept is 0, negative 8. Okay, remember this is symmetric, so to figure out your other point from this axis of symmetry, this is over 1, 2 units, and I went left. So I'm going to go 1, 2 units right, and that's my other point. What is that point? That is 4, negative 8. So that's my final point, 4, negative 8. I like to go ahead and label all these so I know. Now I have 3 points, and I make my parabola. All right, that's standard form. Let's go down to vertex form. Remember, vertex form is nice because it already gives you your HK, and your HK is your vertex. Remember, I kind of circle this. This is my H, this is my K, okay? So I start, well, this is also my A right here, whatever's in front of the parentheses. So we can start again. What is our A? It's -3. Just happens to be the same thing. How does this open? It opens down again. To figure out my vertex, remember, it's always the opposite of H. Keep K. I'm writing this just to help you when you go to do your own. So if I look at my H, it says it's -1, so the opposite is 1. Keep K, that's 3. It's 1, 3. Axis of symmetry is X equals H. Well, our H is the first coordinate of our vertex, which was 1. So we're going to have X equals 1. How do we find our y-intercept? That's where we plug in 0 for X. Okay, so we have the g of X equals -3 times 0 minus 1 squared plus 3. Do the parentheses first. 0 minus 1, -1. Square -1 before you multiply it by -3. A negative times a negative makes a +1. Then multiply it by 3. -3 plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so my y-intercept is going to be 0, 0. Okay, then my point I'll do in just a moment. So I've got my axis of symmetry at X equals 1. Remember to use your ID or some type of straight edge when you do this. Okay, X equals 1. And then from there, I'm going to do my vertex, which was 1, 3. Again, that should always be on the axis of symmetry. My y-intercept is my origin, 0, 0. Okay, again, I look at this. From the axis of symmetry, I want 1 to the left to do my y-intercept. I'm going to go 1 to the right. That's the point right there, 2, 0. 2, 0 is my other point. This is 0, 0. And this is 1, 3. 3 points are all we need when we do this. And you draw your parabola. Okay, please, please use this. I didn't have you print this off and take actual notes, but you should be able to go back to the video, pause it, look it over as you need it to help you do the quiz. Today's assignment is the quiz, only the quiz. Once you've done that and submit it, you have no homework. Hopefully you'll actually get some time to go outside. It's going to be beautiful outside today. All right, so y'all have a good day. Always, if you need me, please, please message me.